all to play for still?
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hello, Aston Villa fans. I hope there's Aston Villa fans there because I've been trying something out here, trying to set one stream up after the other, and I don't think everything has happened here. I don't think people have been kicked over into the other stream, but we'll see how that goes because I made a balls in my other stream there trying to set this up. But anyway, this is preview for Everton versus Aston Villa, and Paddy Mucker is here. Paddy, how are we doing?
I'm good. I feel like we're talking to nobody. It's like the old days of pre-recording podcasts. I don't know if I got the notification here, so I don't know if anybody else got it.
You got the yeah. I've absolutely no idea why it won't work. It's supposed to work. It's not working as advertised. I have no idea why that's happened. Oh, we had a big influx of people there, but I don't know whether that is the situation. Anyway, Aston Villa play. Yeah, because I was all flustered trying to get this set up. I made an absolute balls at the last podcast. Started talking about Chris Hughton, who was sacked the year before bloody Bad even came into Forest and everything. So I was all flustered, Paddy. I was all flustered. Anyway, Everton versus Aston Villa, Paddy. You are at the 150th celebrations on Friday. Let's talk just a small bit about that before we get into the Everton Aston Villa piece. How did you find it?
I enjoyed it. It wasn't anything extravagant or over the top. It was obviously a little bit special. It was a brilliant marketing ploy to fill the stadium, and absolutely hats off to him. He got everybody in there. I obviously sat in my season tickets, but there was nobody around me that I knew. So everyone had obviously sold on their season tickets or not bought the tickets in time and bought them late and had to sit elsewhere. But the one thing I will take away from the night itself is it was the coldest I've ever felt in my entire life. We left our seats to try and climb the stairs back up to the vomitory on the whole end, and I literally couldn't lift my leg up the step at the end of the row. That's how my legs had just given up at this stage. But look, we got the result. We're in the fourth round of the hat. Everybody got to take part and celebrate in. Look, it's a amazing thing to get to 150 years. And yeah, there were some celebrations around it. There was some offers. I got a baseball hat, and my son got a scarf for 150. When I got into the ground, there was no beer left. There was no pies left, neither cold or hot. So I couldn't tell you what they were like from my point of view, but it was reduced price. Got to see my beloved Aston Villa. Got to share a special day with my son, obviously, and a load of my good friends that support Aston Villa with me, and that was the most important thing. I can't hear you. I still can't hear you. I presume everybody was hearing me, but I can't hear Neil. No, can't hear you. Neil's gone mute. I'll keep filling here until Neil goes out and comes back. Really enjoyed the night. Friday night, got to meet a lot of people who listen and watch the podcast. Now it's saying Paddy has no sound. What have we got? Can you hear me okay? Let me know if you can hear me. I don't know what the hell has happened here. Very strange. I don't know if I'm talking to you or not. All right, I've just turned myself up. I can hear myself. Okay, we're good. Keith said our hats worked well. They did. Everybody that had on worked very well. On it was very important that you had a hat on to keep the old Barnet warm and snug. Neil, can you hear us?
I can hear you, but I don't know if anyone can hear me.
I can hear you now. I can hear you
now.
now.
Perfect. Yeah. It's just been gremlin after gremlin after gremlin. I've been fighting today. And anyway, we get there. We get there in the end. What I was saying, Paddy, was that it came across really well on TV. I think it was, the ground was full, which was great because when the fixture was announced, a lot of people thought that it wouldn't be. You could hear an awful lot of West Ham chants. That's fine. Look, there was 6,000 of them there. You'd expect that, and they were in a different part of the ground. And, a more prominent part as well. I don't care about that. But look, I think the jerseys went down like a treat. We ours are being delivered tomorrow, Paddy. I think. I think it's tomorrow because they clear customs this evening, so they should be on a van tomorrow. And I'm looking forward to getting mine to just to have it. It's a piece of history. It's a piece of memorabilia. It's a piece of something that not a lot of other clubs haven't reached that milestone yet, and we have, and it's our wonderful club that has done so. So, and to get the win after a poor performance in the first half, I think, is the cherry on top. But good to hear you enjoyed yourself. No harm for you to get a bit cold every now and then. But we can't change that. And I suppose 150-year celebrations have kind of been done by the club now. And we need to go and beat Everton to keep our run in the Premier League going, our potential run towards Champions League going again. Obviously, Everton will be hoping for a new manager bounce, like West Ham were hoping for from Graham Potter at the weekend, and we'll be hoping that they don't get that. Paddy, where do you stand on going back? Where do you stand on David Moyes getting the gig back again at Everton?
I feel. Now, I understand that there's panic. They are obviously falling back into that hole that they're swirling above the relegation zone. But I think they're just lacking a little bit of consistency. If you look back over the fixtures, they got a draw with Arsenal, a draw with Chelsea, a draw with Man City, and a draw with Newcastle. And you would think that someone who's pulling out results like that would be in a much better position, but they're just not. They're rising to the big occasion, but they're not rising to the games where they have a good chance of winning. So they followed up that there was 3 of those back to back: the Arsenal, Everton, Arsenal, Chelsea, and Man City in December, and then they go and lose to Notts Forest and lose to Bournemouth. So it's a strange kind of run of fixtures and a run of results for them. But to answer your question, David Moyes for me is Mr. Everton. I think he could be seen very, very differently if things don't go his way over the next few months. And to be honest with you, all I want is that there's no new manager bounce on Wednesday, because it's become a very important fixture for us. We're after winning a couple of games very, very ugly, and I'm okay with us winning ugly as long as we're winning. But a better side would probably have turned us over Friday night. A better side would have turned us over against Leicester, I feel. So we need to play a little bit better. We need to be, as we know, we haven't been playing very well away from home. And there's 2 big fixtures this week: a very winnable game against Everton and a very, very tough game against Arsenal at the weekend. So a win against Everton puts us back in the mix for European football, or keeps us in that group of that are there. And I think that's the most important thing, not whether Moyes is a success or not. But I'll let him deal with how he sees himself at the end of the season, because all they want at the moment is to get themselves into that new stadium and still be a Premier League club. If this is the turn of events that does it for them, fair play to them. I personally thought it was a little bit harsh on Sean Dyche, albeit he's there a very long time. probably run his course. Fought badly on a number of players, and they didn't exactly pull him out of that mire. Kept him up last season, and they can't afford to be in another. They can't afford to be charging championship prices next year. I'll put it that way, in that brand new stadium.
Absolutely, yeah, I agree. Looking at the lineup, Paddy, that the Villa are going to be able to put out. You know, we're not going to see Pau Torres, obviously. We're not going to see John McGinn. We're not going to see Ross Barkley, all injured. Emi Martinez is a doubt. I'd be blown away with a feather if it's Robert Olsen in goals tomorrow. I think Martinez will play the game tomorrow. But we're probably not going to see Diego Carlos and Jadon Philogene either, because they're being linked with moves away too. So, you know, that's an interesting piece as well. So while we're not going to be threadbare, like our defense is going to be tested tomorrow from a fitness point of view. Onana coming back into midfield in that game for Ross Barkley. Do you think he starts? On Wednesday, should I say? Keep on saying tomorrow. On Wednesday, do you think he starts to see? Has he done enough to come back into the team after his cameo?
In my eye test, he hasn't done pretty well off the bench. I think he's been much better as a starter. So I'd be more than happy to see him start on Wednesday. I think it's a huge game for him to go back there, and a game where he's a lot to prove. So for me, he's a starter on Wednesday, and I'd be more than happy to see him in that position.
We'd be happy to know, Paddy, that while their person who's coming back to, or sorry, our player who we bought from them is going back to Goodison, theirs that they bought from us won't be. And Timur Bunum is injured and is unlikely to be playing. They're also going to be without Broja as well, who suffered what looks like another nasty injury. Again, just can't catch a break, that guy. They're likely going to be without Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Seamus Coleman is injured, probably. You know, who actually spoke really well after that, after the FA Cup game. Fair play to him. Dwight McNeil is the name, though, that I'm most interested. He's injured because Dwight McNeil ran the show for the first 25 minutes against Villa at Villa Park, and he's not going to be there. So, you know, I think that's a massive plus point for us. Now, they're obviously going to have that steely defense of Brantwaite and Tarkovsky in there. Pickford in goals, the two fullbacks as well. They're stingy with conceding goals, very much so. Everton are at the moment. They're going to have Ganagame and Gala in there as well. But like from an attacking point of view, they're still null in an attacking sense, you know. Yeah. So you'd have to feel Villa get a goal here, they win, you know, because they're pretty impotent up top. Like Beto looks like he might be going to 3-0 at the end of the month if they can source a replacement. Are you worried by that? By the fact that it's going to be all Villa going away from home? It'll be Villa's job to try and break down Everton, or do you think Everton are going to come out and try and attack Villa? I just can't see it.
I can't see it either. What I see is I watched a little bit of the game on Thursday night with no sound. I was in the UK at the time, so it was on in the background where I was. They played a three at the back with O'Brien, Keane, and Brantwaite at centre half, and Patterson and Mikalenko on the wing backs. I could see David Moyes doing something similar, just to shut up shop, and hope for one of those 0-0 or 1-0 victories that they've been very good at irking out against those big teams that I said, and we're definitely classed in one of those big teams. So I envisage he'll play somewhat similar. I believe Dominic Calvert-Lewin is actually fit. He can play on Wednesday.
I thought he suffered. I thought I read somewhere today that he suffered another niggle. He's doubtful.
Yeah, well, possibly. The report I read earlier said he was fit. Whether something has happened since then or whenever that was published, I don't know. Yeah, and he always has a decent game against us if he's fit. But there's a lot of injuries there. There's a lot of play. And look, while it's a game we should win, you just never know what's going to happen with a new manager. Players coming out that haven't played all season have suddenly turned into world beaters, as we've seen over year after year after year, and it just always seems to be us that play against the teams with the new managers. I don't know whether there's any statistic and stat I'll probably come across that, but it just seems to feel that we are always the unlucky one that plays against a new team or a new manager for a team, and we have suffered in the past. So there's a lot of play at this one. There's going to be a lot of welcoming home from the fans, and I could just see this being a slippery one for us. But I'm hopeful that we've got enough in our locker to go and win the game by the odd goal.
Yeah, I think we will. Like, I'm a bit more confident in this one. Like, we're going to have John Duran back. Ramsey came off the bench and looked like the best Ramsey we've seen in 18 months over the last 2 games that we've seen him play. Best Ramsey in the last 12 months, let's say. When Diaz come on, he's looked like he's very industrious. I know we're down a lot of players, but I think our attacking players that we can bring off the bench are a hell of a lot better than theirs. I think, and also, look, I know we've been dodgy in defence, but I'm thinking we could win this to 0. I think, like, I'm not discrediting Everton. I certainly am not. But like, when you talk about new manager bounce, like, David Moyes is just out of a job a wet week, and Villa will know him inside out. You know, he's been playing in the league. It's not like they've gone and they've signed young Mr. Up-and-coming manager from the French or the Spanish leagues and has a wrinkle that he can throw here and there. Now, you did say that he is Mr. Everton. Obviously, he is. But it is kind of like it's kind of like when Graham Taylor came back. You know, Graham Taylor came back to Villa and we were fine. We were grand. We didn't do anything. And when we kind of fizzled out then for a period afterwards. And then obviously Graham Taylor goes again. I just don't know what David Moyes is going to bring from a newness point of view. Like, there's some of the players, like Seamus Coleman's still there. He was there when David Moyes was there last as well, you know. So it's I don't know. I'm not dismissing Everton. I'm certainly not, but I'm interested to see it's solely because I'm not a believer in this new manager bounce. I'm not a believer that every single manager gets a new manager bounce. And I just don't know how David Moyes gets a new manager bounce in this one. I think the crowd will be up for it. Jesus, Goodison will be happy. Yeah. But yeah. I just don't know. I don't know where it comes from with him. That makes sense.
I definitely believe in a new manager bounce because, you know, we've all been through it where a new manager is taking over the team and you're setting out your stall to make sure that you're involved in it. It does happen. There is a science that will tell you it's successful more often than not in the first few games. And, you know, at 17 points on the board, they're probably, if they kept that up, that's probably enough to keep them up at the end of the season. You know, 35, 36 points has been enough to keep teams up. And if he went on a run and got 2 or 3 wins, that'll pull them well clear of that relegation zone as well. But yeah, it's a strange one. To go back to Moyes in this situation, I think could ultimately be a mistake in the long run. I don't know how much of. I didn't notice. Did they say how long of a contract he got? Because
I don't know.
Did they just bring him in till the end of the season? It's just a weird one. Because you'd have to think that going from the manager they just had to the manager they're getting, is there much of a difference in the style of play? You know, you're looking at 2 old school managers that are just grinding out results and have been doing that. Like Moyes went in to steady the ship at Manchester United when Alex went. He was never going to go in and win trophies. He was the same at West Ham. He was steadying the ship. He'd done a great job at West Ham over a long period of time. Didn't he go back? Didn't he leave and go back to West Ham as well?
He did. Yeah, he did.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Look, he's done it before. I thought it was strange that West Ham got rid of him too. But look, I still believe there is a place for David Moyes. There is still a place for Sean Dyche in the top tier of English football. Any manager that can put out a team as well organised and well defensively minded as those, we've seen it this year so many times that there's teams set out to make sure that they don't lose as opposed to win games. So we've seen it in the last few weeks where teams are parking the bus. We saw Friday night, West Ham went 1-0 up, parked the bus. Leicester parked the bus. Just teams making themselves very hard to beat. We are going to have to be a little bit patient and give a little bit of encouragement on Wednesday night, because it's going to be a tough slog. This is not going to be an easy one, and we haven't had a great run against Everton. And one player you mentioned there, Emi Buendia, always seems to score against Everton. So maybe it's his time. Maybe it's time to put him in there.
Scores headers against Everton.
Couple of headers, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see him. I think Emi Buendia is going to be a bench player. I have no problem with that. Don't think he would either. He's coming back from an injury. I think he understands what the project is. He seems to be, a likable type of guy. As we said in our Christmas thing, he's a bit salty, at times. But that's good. Look, that just breeds competition. And I have no problem with him coming on to more tired legs at 65, 70 minutes and run around. And one of those shots he's going to take soon is going to pop in, because against Leicester he had a couple. Against West Ham, can't remember, did he have a shot against West Ham? But he was definitely industrious when he came on. And that's what we need. That's what we're missing with Tom McGinn.
He had a header on target against West Ham.
He did. You're right. He did. But I think I think that's what we're missing with, like, there isn't an awful lot of pace. There isn't a lot of zip in this team. And that's what we're missing from McGinn as well. So like he also kind of ticks that box as well. Do you expect John Durant to just come straight back in, Paddy?
I don't for this one, no. I think this is a game for Ollie Watkins. I think this is going to be a tactical battle. And then when the game gets a bit more stretched, if it's still sitting at 0-0, maybe that's a time for the two of them together to be in there. But I don't envisage John Duran come straight back in. Have we heard from the Premier League about the kick in the water bottle yet?
No.
They're absolutely beyond useless, aren't they? They really are.
Well, remember, like, it took them 5-6 weeks to get. Well, maybe it wasn't that long now, okay, but it just seems like it was that long. But it took them a good few weeks after they had after Mateus Cunha to dish out whatever. No, look, if you're going to get 2 games for knocking 3-game ban down to 2 for knocking a fella's glasses off, they start giving out games for kicking water bottles. The game is genuinely gone. But look, we'll see.
Yeah, but it's the lack of communication that's getting me now. That this is very annoying and very disrespectful to us as fans who pay the money to be involved in match day experience. We saw Bruno Fernandes slam his boots off the ground yesterday, kick over an advertisement hoarding, and nobody's saying, are we giving him a match ban for that? But whereas John Duran loses his cool, and rightly loses his cool, because he shouldn't have been fucking sent off in the first place. Sorry, New Year's resolution is stop the swearing on the podcast. I'm losing already. You just have to mention a referee, and then I've done that. Anyway, sorry guys, I'm trying not to swear on the podcast. But yeah, we saw that yesterday, and there's not a mention from anybody saying that shouldn't be happening or he shouldn't be doing this, that, and the other. Yes, they give us a nice little shot across the bows when we were annoyed over a 3-game ban that could potentially become 5. So it's very, very annoying, very, very frustrating from a fan's point of view to be not getting that communication. Yeah,
look, we'll get it when we get it. Like, as you say yourself, it's the law into their own. Comes to mind when we talk about PGMOL and the Premier League. And as it was highlighted today, and I don't want to, you don't have to comment on it if you don't want to, but as was highlighted today with the VAR/refereeing decisions going against Aston Villa having the most of those this season. And as you commented in a group that we're in together, you said, no, I don't agree with it. I think they've actually gotten that table wrong. You've counted 10 in the 10 discretions that
10, not 4.
Yeah, 10, not 4. But look, if they're supposed to even out over the course of a season, well, then we have a brilliant second half of the season coming. Anyway, that's my glass half full synopsis on that one. Like, we always seem to get Leicester under lights on an evening game midweek. I love it. I will continue to say this. Long time listeners of the podcast will know exactly what I'm going at here. I like Everton as a football club. It's like, as we know about the history of this game, I say it every time. It's the most played game of football in England's top flight, I think, still. And I just fucking love Goodison. I loved Goodison, as I say. It's the ground I've been to the most after Villa Park, and it's going to be the last time they're going to play there. So I think it's the last time they're going to play each other there before they move to their stadium. So I think it's going to be a big night. Under lights, Villa always seem to get the better of Everton. So I just feel confident about this one. I don't know why. I'm not usually a blowhole about Aston Villa going and winning games easily, but I'm not sure that they're going to win this game easily. But I just feel good about it. I'm looking forward to watching it on Wednesday night and seeing Unai Emery's team get back on track. Within the Premier League, a win would be big for us. Keeps us in the hunt for that Champions League place. And then we've got Monaco coming up on the horizon the week after. We've got Arsenal, then we've got Monaco, I think, isn't it? And then we've Celtic then in the Champions League. So, it's taking fast from here on out. And anybody going to the Celtic game, I will be there at the Celtic game. And so will Paddy. And there's actually a few other people who are going. Some of you guys will. Hopefully, we're going to try and meet up with a couple of other people who are going, who are there, and try and bring you some content from that as well. Speaking of, I at this moment in time, hopefully I feel better about technology and content and everything like that by the time that comes around, because at this moment in time, I never want to see another stream again, because that last stream has just fucking disappeared off YouTube and it's disappeared off Twitter. So that podcast never happened, it seems. It never happened. Yeah. I don't know what the hell is going on. So anyway,
so whoever got to see that was special, because it'll never be repeated again.
Never be repeated again. I'm gonna have to do up something again for like 10 minutes, a really quick one after this, and fire it out again, just for those who didn't get to see it. So if you want to watch it again, you can watch it again. That's fine. I don't really mind. But it's just disappeared, and I have no idea what gremlins have crept into the system. Anyway, less of my bitching in the morning. Paddy's given up cursing on the podcast. I'm giving up technical issues in the podcast, and we're going to
try anyway
for New Year's, clean slate for New Year's. Right, I think Paddy, that's going to do it for us tonight. Thanks a million for everybody for jumping in. Later podcast today. I really appreciate your time on that one as well. And we'll be back with team sheet tantrums and post matches on Wednesday after the Everton game. Just
before you go, just want to give a big shout out to Bradders, who comments. Doesn't normally watch them live, but he comments on a lot of what we do. Came to meet me on Friday night and bought me a lovely pint of Guinness, and it was great to chat with someone who interacts with the podcast. So when we do go to Celtic, if you're around in the afternoon, we'll tell you where we'll be. Come and have a pint with us.
We fly in at something like 7 o'clock in the morning, lads. So if anybody if anybody's hanging around Birmingham from 7 a.m. in the morning, we can't check into our place till about noon. So, like, you could see two Irish vagrants walking the street, hauling their bags behind each other. It wouldn't be anything out of place in Birmingham back in the 60s and 50s, 60s and 70s. But give us a shout. Let us know what's going on, because, we're flying out the day afterwards. And then I go on my stag then on the Friday. So I have a heavy, heavy week of consumption.
It is a big week. Our good buddy's getting married that week as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Somebody has just reminded me in a text message here that there is actually a game between now and Wednesday.
There is. Under 21s play tomorrow.
What do they call it? Is that the Bristol Street Motors thing, or what?
No, the Ventu or something like that, isn't it? The Ventu Trophy.
Okay.
I think that's what it is.
So it's basically the league. It was called something else last year, wasn't it? I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember. It's had a lot of incarnations. At this, it was the Johnston Paint Trophy or something at one stage, and the Papa John's as well. Okay. Yeah, the Virtue or something. Yeah. Anyway, the other 21s are playing against Bradford tomorrow. I'm going to watch that as well. We're not going to do pre and posts or anything like that.
A bit of PTSD dreaming of the last time we played Bradford in the Carabao Cup semi-final. Was probably the Carling Cup at that stage, but
yeah.
Carl
McHugh, Paddy. Carl McHugh, Donegal's Carl McHugh, I think, scored a header against us that day. Lambert's time.
I remember the day vividly because it was the day we buried my grandmother, believe it or not,
Oh,
back
Jesus.
in 2013. And so they all had a right slagging off me in the pub that night.
As if it wasn't bad enough. Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
you think you give you. Yeah. Right. Yeah, so we will see you guys again for pre and for Team Sheet Tantrums and post match for the Everton game on Wednesday. But check out the under 21s tomorrow. I imagine they're going to have a nice strong team out, and it'll be a nice test against Bradford tomorrow. So check that out. I think you get it on. I think you get it on avfc.com. But I'm sure the club will have details where you can watch it tomorrow as well. So
we'll find out tomorrow. Yeah,
we'll find out is right. Excellent. So thanks very much, everybody, for watching and for seeing me absolutely slog through these two podcasts with technical issues. I do apologize. And we'll see you on Wednesday with the slate is wiped clean and there won't be any technical issues. I think I'm sure of that. But anyway, in the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, and all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.